Hey guys, it's Cindy over at paper.old.new. Thanks for coming by. God bless you for being here. It's spring, guys. Now I would like to go through and remember I told you I was changing pick a project. It's springtime, I'm going to spring clean. So any of you who are adverse to throwing things away might not want to watch these videos. But for our picker project, I said it wasn't going to be like journal project oriented. So every picker project wasn't going to be about a specific journal that I was working on. This time it's going to be cleaning projects. And part of my cleaning projects are going to be going through all this pre-made ephemera that I never use and deciding what I'm going to keep, what I can change, and what really is beyond help as far as I'm concerned and is just going to have to be sacrificed or cut up into scraps or whatever. So this bin I happen to have labeled, this is booklets and flip pads. Okay, and some of the stuff in here is just little things that I said, oh, I can make a booklet cover out of that. A lot of this ephemera got built up over that 100 days with Tina's 100 mass makes. And what I learned I wanted to do them. I had been wanting to do them since I saw them. And what I learned over the course of making all of the things in the mass makes is some of the stuff I really liked, and some of the stuff I would probably never use. So even though I've made some of it, I'm going to be going back through here and I'm going to be doing things like this. So for this particular piece, what I'm most likely going to do, actually we're going to do right now, is I'm going to cut this fold off of here. And I'm going to make this into just 2 basic journaling cards. Okay. So this is the repurposing of the stuff I have in these bins into things that I will use, and like this, and then I'm going to round corners because I want to. And I think I'll do a medium round on this one and a small round on the other one. And then basically I've got 2 cards ready to be decorated, and the backs are treated for journaling space, and I can put stickers and stuff on them. So they're ready to go. And if you remember, I do have those things where I like stack things like this, or you make pockets where it overlaps here and you've got a pocket back here and then you can stick stuff in between. So these panels can also be used for something like that. So these are useful. Let's see what else we've got in here. All right, now I've got this that I made, which also, I made this with the idea that I would put some paper in here and turn it into a book. But what I'm thinking is I would like it better as a tuck spot. So what I'm going to very carefully do, because the lace is right up against the back end of this. So I'm trying to decide, I'm going to put my ruler on this side to do a straight line, and we are going to cut down along there, and I'm going to try not to cut the lace. And basically what we'll do, maybe I'll cut like this. And then scissors to do that last part. Which means it won't be as straight, but at least I won't cut the lace. So now what I've got here is, this can be used as a tuck spot, which I think would be really cute on a page. So yeah, that would be my thought for this, is I would want to use this probably as a tuck spot. I don't tend to make things to go in pockets unless I'm going to gusset the pocket. If I know I want to use this as a card, I'll gusset a pocket for it to go in because of all the 3D stuff. But this would look really cute as a tuck. So repurposed. This can be a card or a tuck or, you know, whatever I end up using it for. It'll go in a pile with these to be used later down the road. I'm just going to trim this because at that section with the scissors, it got a little wonky. So I'm just going to trim it up a little bit. And basically I'm going back through and I'm deciding, because what I have noticed is I tend to I tend to have difficulty using pre-made ephemera because of the books that I make. They aren't just generic. I don't necessarily have a single style, if that makes sense. The ephemera I make ahead doesn't always go with any of the books that I've made. So it makes it difficult. Now, this one. So for this, I will probably keep this. I think this could be all kinds of different things. This was double-sided cardstock. Now, if I decorate it, I have limited myself. So again, I'm not going to put any decoration on this, but I know I want to keep it and I know it has purpose. So I will keep that. Okay, now we have this. My issue with this is the envelope made it bulky. And this is not cut open. So probably what I would do with it, if I was going to do something with it, is I think what we'll do is we're going to make this a glue down pocket, or glue down pockets, rather. Okay, and my thought is we're going to cut this in half. It's probably going to need trimming. I probably should have leave it like this and cut it in half. We'll just cut this off of here like this. I got a lot of layers to go through, so this is going to be a fun one. And I'll make them individual, which means we're going to have to do some gluing. Oops. It's not quite all the way through. And that's all. I don't know why that came out all squirrely. Right there. I think that's where like all the flaps of the envelope are glued together. So it's kind of messy right there. Anyway, so basically what we're doing is I'm cutting these apart. Now, as you can see, it now is open. But what we're going to do is we're going to glue this up along this side. So let me get out my glue. If you don't want to lose real estate in this, I'm going to show you something just in case. So if I don't want to lose real estate in this pocket, I got scraps. Let's get scraps. And I'm even going to dig down into here into my book page scraps because I don't need any kind of fancy scraps. Will this cover it? This will cover it. So basically what we're going to do, and you probably already have an idea, I don't want to lose real estate on my pocket. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this to here. This is just a scrap. How's everybody doing? I'm sure you guys all have stuff that you've made that has been sitting in a bin and you're not sure what to do with it, or you haven't been able to use it in a project, so it's just sitting there. That's basically what's happening with all these bins. Not to mention the fact that if I showed you the floor around me, because I have so much stuff and not any place to put it, and the downstairs where I moved upstairs from is still a mess. I mean, there's still a ton of stuff down there. I need stuff on this side. Okay, I am not kidding you when I say I have a ton of stuff that won't fit up here. So the space that I had down there, even though I got this fancy, crafting area, I'm sharing this as my sleeping area, and I don't have enough space. So there's still stuff downstairs and there's stuff all over the floors all around me. Well, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I've got these plastic bins full of ephemera that I never dig through. Or when I do dig through it, I never find anything that I want to use. So why don't I do something like go through and figure out what I'm going to use and what I'm not going to use and what I liked, how it turned out, and all that kind of stuff, and figure out ways to use it up and clear those cabinets out. Now, this is still supposed to be a pocket as well, so I don't want to. I got to figure out how to do this because I do want. Do I want that to be open? No, I think that overcomplicates things. So I'm going to put some glue in here. I don't want this to be open. I mean, I didn't want this side to be open anyway, but I don't want this to be open. So I'm going to just put a bunch of glue where my glue bottle will reach. I'm not worried about it not. And what I'll use this for in my book is a tuck with a pocket on the front. Right? So this will now be a tuck in a book. So I can tuck something behind it here or here. And then what we'll do is we'll make this a pocket. And basically I'm going to fold this around here. And that's how I'm going to get my pocket closed. That way, since it's small, I get to keep all the real estate in my little triangle pocket down there. Now, depending on what you're going to put in it, you might not need to do that, but I think I need a new bottle of Fabri-Tac, guys. This one is not liking. Let me shake this up since it's here, and then I'll get a new bottle. This is going to be wet. It's always wet. Plus I cut that tip down too far and it's a mess now. I would say it typically sticks though. I don't have any problems with it not sticking. But it is messy. It's a very wet glue. This is some of that glue I got. It was $1. I mean, $1 a bottle. So, I mean, considering the cost of glue these days, I was like, I'll try it. Okay, now that gives me a wraparound on the back. And now I've got my little tuck here. And this is ready to be glued onto a page as a tuck or a pocket or something like that. All right, so that's a tuck to be used. And I'll fix this one at a later date. I'm not going to show you the same thing again. But I just thought you might like that idea for something to do with that. And like I said, we are going to come across things that I don't have anything to do with. So, what's next? Some of it is going to be a matter of modifying stuff that we made, like finishing it, making it, like I did the basic in the video when I did the 100 days. Like for this. Okay, this is a little booklet made out of an envelope. All right, so it's got paper stapled in here, a couple pieces of coffee dyed paper stapled to in the flap, in the crease where the flap is. Now, my thought for this was, I'm going to cut this on both sides. Okay. I didn't cut quite as close on that side, but on this side, but it's going to have to be what it is. All right, and we're going to cut these off. I should probably do this with a straight edge because you might be able to see that edge from the outside. It doesn't look too bad. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to find some paper and we're going to make this booklet the way I want it. So this is going to be a pocket in here. So we need something to cover that with. And I think because of the buildings, ooh, actually, we're going to take a few of this. And I think I had some other travel-oriented paper in here. Can't remember if it was this one or not. It might have been this one. Okay, so we got a telephone. Ah, here we go. I only have one of those left. And I'm putting postcards in from there, so that's a good thought. But I wanted to see, there's a map with a compass, but it's big. There's the fronts of postcards. Okay, I think I'm liking this one. We'll keep that whole postcard theme going. Okay, Now, because I have all these buildings, it was a page out of a book I got at a thrift store. The front page, it was like the civilization of man through the years, and this was supposed to show like the development of the ancient world up through modern time building, or at least Gothic cathedrals. I don't know. Anyway, so what I thought I would do is, and it's a shame, because we're going to make a pocket here. So I just want to cover that up to its edge. And then I wonder if I could just fold it around and get as much of this looks, well, a lot of them looked the same, but that looks like Notre Dame. So I'm wondering if I could do it like that. I think that would be really nice. I might even pull it down a little bit so that I can do some folding and covering of the edges and like wrap it. Okay, so let's cover this part. And I'll show you what I'm going to do with this, because we're going to need I'm going to need this. Okay. Got all our supplies. We probably aren't going to make a very big dent in this box, but this is going to be kind of a series of spring cleaning of my craft room. I don't know if it should be a pick a project video or if I should just have spring cleaning. Sorting and spring cleaning. And basically I'm just going through and figuring out what I want to do with old pieces and stuff that's sitting around, taking up space and making a mess, if I'm honest. Get my folder. I just squeezed a whole bunch of glue into my opening. That's bad. I don't want to do that. All right, so we're going to do like this. Okay, and of course you can edge the pocket or whatever you want to do like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here, and the idea would be to bring this around like this. Pull it as tight as I can. And fold it around, and then it's going to go to right about here. I mean, I guess I can just glue it down, because the idea for this is going to be a glue down as a side tuck. Okay, so this is going to be a side tuck with a book on it. So we're just going to go ahead, and the next thing I'm going to do is cut. I'm going to cut just to this side. And then I'm going to cut a triangle. And we're going to fold this up. I want to wrap these edges. I don't want it to look like, not to mention the fact that it reinforces and it gives me, that's not straight. Well, it's not straight as far as the envelope is concerned. Okay. Well, we'll deal with it when I glue it down. All right. So we're going to put on the outside of the fold, because this down here is going to get cut off. So if it's not even, that's okay. And then I'm going to cut that out in a wedge, and we're going to fold it up. So basically what I'm doing is I'm making sure that these edges are covered, because the edges are kind of thick because it's an envelope. And with me stacking more paper on, I just don't want it, if you look at it from the edge, I don't want it to look like stacks of the edges of paper. I think this is cleaner looking. But again, if that's not something that bothers you, then don't worry about it. Just cut these off. I just like being able to wrap one side over and cover with another side, and then it looks more finished to me. Now, granted, that's only going to work up to here because this isn't the same width, same height as the envelope, but it's enough. Okay, and then we're going to glue all around here. Okay. Now, this piece, as you see, folds over, but I'm going to glue it to this. I'm just going to go ahead and glue this down and we'll cut everything. Okay, so that's like that. And this is becoming a project in and of itself. But this is what I'm going to have to do with all of the things in this bin if I want to have any hopes of using them in the future. Because if they're not a finished piece, then I won't really know what to do with them. I'm just going to cut straight up. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. If I need to cut it, I'll cut it again. And the idea is going to be that I'm going to take this, and if I was going to make, so if I have a page, like let's use this. So if I have a page in a book, I can either glue this down in the book like this on the page and have this be a tuck, or I can glue this down like this on a page and have it be a tuck on the other side. So that's why I said it depends on how I'm going to use it as to whether or not I want to go ahead and do the flap. But basically what I would do is I would put this on here, okay, to reinforce the side that will be inside that. So this would be the side that I glue down. This would be the side that you tuck into. Okay, so I would glue this on here, and then I would decorate with a strip of this. Okay, and it would sandwich the flap in between, so all this unevenness and the glue and all that wouldn't be in the way. So basically, I'm going to tuck these together, and I'm going to figure that out later. That's a problem for later me. But that is an idea of how to use that book. Now, that's basically what that book was intended for. So I didn't really make any huge changes to that. And then I have stuff like this in here. I look at it and I say, I would probably use that, tuck it in the pocket, something like that. I've already decorated the front. So there's nothing, you know, I would probably use that. So that's going to go in the pile. Okay. And then we have stuff like, wait, this is a flippy pad. This is just paper. I mean, I would probably glue that in something and put a cover over the, what do you call it? The top here. But the cover would probably be a strip of something cloth, like trim of some sort. And then you could use the pages. So we'll keep that one. This is... This is the idea of what this was supposed to be. So it's a little book, and you've got these that you open, and then you sew pages in here. I'll keep it for now. I know I'm not really getting rid of anything, am I? Okay, what was I going to do with it? There was something I was going to do with this, and I don't remember what it was. I think I had a pile started in my bin in here for things that I wanted to keep. So like this was something I wanted to keep, because I can easily use this. This is another flippy pad, but what I would probably do is glue it down like this by its strip. And that way it's decorative, and then you flip it up. And well, actually that's how I would glue it down, because that's the decorative front. And then you flip these up and you got all kinds of paper in there. So that works. These also I like. We made these out of cards. So we framed the front. There's a pocket on the back. There's a pocket on the inside. You could sew pages in here and make a little booklet out of it. I think what this needed was continued decoration. Let me see if I have that. I don't know what happened to it. I have a flower out here. There we go. I was thinking something like this on here, though. I think that would be really cute. So let's go ahead and put this down. See, this is just stuff I'm pulling off my desk. I probably took this out to use on a different project and didn't use it. So we'll use it on this. And there we've decorated the front of it, and it looks cute and adorable, and that's ready for use. You can do the same thing with one like this. This one flips up as a side pocket and a pocket on the back. So again, these can be page hangovers or side page tucks, or they can be little booklets with journaling space. Since I put this on the back, you wouldn't really want to necessarily glue it down. I suppose if you wanted to, you could glue it down like this around a page, and this could be one side and that could be the other. Okay, so we have that one. Hold on just a second. Okay, so that was my daughter. She was coming to... Okay, so we made these. It's a tube, so there's a pocket in there, and then it's got, like, you close it and you can slip stuff in there, and you can maybe glue it down in a book as a what do you call it? Like, sew it in, and these can flip, and you can open these, and I don't know that I would ever use this. It's kind of bulky in the middle. I mean, I don't hate the idea, but I used a little bit of a heavier paper. I don't know if it would be better with a thinner piece of paper. But what I'm going to do with it right now is I'm going to cut it in half. What do I do with my ruler? Okay, so I'm going to cut this apart. I don't know. And it's going to be two separate pieces. Now, I'm not going to toss it because I think it could be useful as pockets. You could have it as a pocket with a tuck spot in it. This happens to, it comes open now that I've cut that loose. So let me see if we glue this back together. Okay, and then I might, again, here it is. If I was going to use this as a pocket or as a tuck spot, I would probably have these corners rounded. And then you've got this little tuck on the front. And then you've got, which I would probably decorate. We would put something, I don't think this will show up. You could do that and then put some flowers on it, I guess. It's actually kind of cute. You know, if I pull it down so I'm not cutting so much off. All right, now this, I'm going to get out my... And like I did before, I'm probably only going to do one of these. And again, with the idea of this being a tuck, it goes too far over, but it'll work. With the idea of this being a tuck, I can do a wrap around the bottom because I'm not going to see the back. And whatever I use to do the wrapping part, I can tuck up in there and glue it to the front and wrap it to the back. So let me get these cut off of here. And then basically what I'm talking about is we would take a piece of scrap paper again. Maybe something like this. I need something that's just inside. No, that's probably not just inside, but it'll do. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this so that I don't have trouble fitting it up in the thing. And it doesn't have to be pretty. And this is going to go up in here, and I'm going to glue it to the top bit, right? So I want to look at it, and I want to say, okay, I'm going to glue right along here. And I don't want a lot of glue to squeeze out. So I'm going to flatten this really good. So I'm going to take off all my excess glue. And this is because I don't want the glue to squeeze out inside my pocket. Okay. Now this is textbook paper and it's kind of old. So this might not have been the best choice, but this is what I got. This is what I got glue on at the moment. So this is what we're going to use. So I'm going to glue it to the top part so that my pocket still opens down in there. I don't know if you can see. Can you see down in there? See, it's glued to this side. And then I'm going to wrap it around to this side. So we're going to wrap it up here. I don't need all this, so we're going to cut it off. Okay. I'm going to wrap it like this. And you can even do the corners this way so that they don't show. I rounded these, so just so they don't show on the front. When you fold it over, you don't want these corners to show. All right. And then we're going to do this, and I don't lose my pocket. Okay. Okay, and then maybe to show that there's a pocket here, I can put a notch. If I can get my notcher thingy down in there. And I'm not going to really have a lot of choice on where to put the notch because it's already closed. So I would have to center it almost, and I don't know that I want it there. I kind of wanted it over to the side. I don't know that I'll do that, but I suppose I could do both. I don't want it to go all the way through. Okay, so that'll be kind of a hidden pocket. But you got a little tuck on the front here, and we've closed up the bottom, so it's a pocket, and now you can glue that down as a tuck. And I've made use of the pieces, and this one is going to have to be altered. So I'll just put it in there, and then we've got this one, which can be used in a book. Now, we also have these little guys that we made. This was a pass-through, and it was what she said it was, and which is why I don't understand why I use this paper, because it's directional and it makes part of it upside down. But the idea was that you put it at the bottom of a page. Oh, probably like this. I don't know why I've got mine the other way. Like this. And wrap it around the page so that you've got a pocket sticking up on this side and then a pocket sticking up on that side. Right? Or you could stick it in a book like this and have a side pocket here and a side pocket there. I mean, they're not a bad idea. I don't have a problem with them. These I made out, and then we lined it with book page. These are better than this one. So this one I made out of cardstock, and it was too stiff and too bulky, and you can see where it bubbled. I don't know if you can see where it bubbled. Can you see that well, it bubbled. Maybe you can see it better on that one. See how it's all wavy right there? Anyway, it was too bulky to do all that with. So I cut it in half and glued, well, no, I didn't glue the bottom closed. So you'd have to glue the bottom closed on both of these. Maybe I glued nope. Okay, and I would probably do a similar, although I don't think I'll use this. I would probably do a similar technique where I took a piece and I glued it to the front, so this side, and then wrapped it to the back. Because this is the decorative side. I don't want to put it down like that because then you lose all and then I would just decorate this up. Okay, so, and this one's got a flap on it, really cute. Okay, and again, these can be glued in your book as tucks. And like I said, these ones got really curly with all the gluing and folding, and I probably folded them wet and shouldn't have, and all this kind of stuff. So, the only issue I have with these is the paper I chose is directional. So if you use this in your book, either everything is sideways if I sew it in, or stuff is upside down. So I would probably cut this one apart as well. So I would just cut it here, up the center. And then I've got 2 pockets. And again, the front of this is, like I said, these were printed on copy paper. This is one of my digitals. And I would glue a piece here and wrap it around. And then this has an upside down book page. Actually, that paper is upside down. Okay, so what we're going to do with this one, folks, is different. All right, so I'll show you what I'll do with this one. We are going to, no, not that. We're going to notch the front of this. Because it was directional. And I'm going to glue this up as a pocket. So you're going to have a pocket on your pocket. And you can see the V there, but I don't think in the grand scheme of things, it makes a lot of difference. So basically what I'm going to do is, because this is directional paper and I don't want my teapots and everything upside down like that, I'm going to put glue on here and we're going to turn this into a pocket on the front of this pocket. Okay. And I keep dropping my rag on the floor because it's so big and bulky and takes up so much space that I don't want it up here with all the other stuff that I've got that's up here that's big and bulky and takes up space. Okay, so now this has become, you got a pocket here and you got a little pocket here, and you can even glue it down as a tuck spot, and you got your little teapot and everything's right side up. Which makes me feel better. Just for this one, this is the one where I would probably, this is the bottom. So this is open, there's no flap. So for this one, I would do the trick with the piece of paper. Glue it up under there, wrap it around the back, and close this pocket off, and then glue this down as a tuck. Now, granted, your seam is on the front, so you would have to decide how you want to decorate that. But I think even with the background being what it is, I think you could still decorate it. So these need bottoms put on them, although I really like this idea. So we're going to clean this up, and I'm going to make, see, we stumble across these ideas while we're doing this. And they turn out, this paper is non-directional, so it doesn't matter. But I really like this idea, so I'm going to cut this one off. It's got a little bit of a messy edge there. This should be fun, because this is 2 layers of like a cardstock, so cutting through this should be fun. Assuming I can, there we go. Heck, I couldn't even get it in there. Okay. That wasn't so bad. All right, and then we're going to glue this up. I like this idea. This is a great way to repurpose these. And then you can, again, glue them in as tucks that have pockets. Or you can make them part of one of those layered flat belly band things that we made in the, I might have done it in a scraps video. I can't remember. Now I would round the corners on these, but I don't think, I'm not sure that that'll let me round that. I don't even think it'll fit in there. No, I can't get that in there. Okay, so that is how it is. And then you put this down in your book, and you've got the top with the pocket, and then you can glue this down flat. And this one, we can do the same thing that we did before, where we glue the piece in. I'm going to trim the bottom of this. We'll glue a piece in the bottom and wrap it around to the back. That way I don't lose pocket space. Although I'm more concerned with it on the sides than I am with it at the bottom. That just means something's going to stick out higher on my... so if I put the glue on here, it just means something's going to... Oops, especially with that big glob right there. All right. So we'll just pinch this shut. It doesn't need all that. It's more for sides than it is for bottoms, I think. I mean, a bottom takes, you know, a little bit of height off of what you can stick in there, depending on where in your book the pocket is. But sides takes away width of card, and that is sometimes harder to adjust. At least for me. Okay, so we glued the bottom of that one shut, and we can glue the bottom of this one shut, and we'll have two little pockets made. These are all flippy pads. You see how much progress I'm not making on this? Okay, this is another one of those envelope things. Did I cut this one open at the end? No. So this is going to be another one of these where I cut it apart and we do this. Okay, all these flippy pads I made, these were supposed to be paperclip flippy pads. And the reason I didn't glue them is because I didn't know which side of the book I was going to clip it onto. Now, of course, the question is whether or not I still want this to be a paperclip pad, or if I even want this paper attached to it. I mean, I guess in the right book. I'm having trouble liking it. I think I'm going to pull it off of here. Just paperclip off of here. All right, guys, this is going to be our first, yeah, and then this will just have to get trimmed or whatever at the top. Although that would probably get hidden in the decorating of the pad. But I've already got this pad made and I can use it inside of a different cover. All right, so we'll put that there. And this is probably going to go in the trash. Don't tell anybody who would get offended. But I'll restate that. It's going to go in the recycling, if that makes anybody feel any better. I have a bag for recycling over here in my room for all the paper stuff that I get rid of. Okay, where are we at? All right, what was this? Oh, this was another booklet piece. This is another thing that I could just turn into cards, although the way I folded it, I would probably want to use it differently as a card. But yeah, this can be turned into skinny cards. So I'm just going to cut the fold off of this and put these up to be cards. Okay, and you can decorate one side, and this side would lend itself to being written on because it's so pale. So those can be cards. And then we had these books that we made. Now, this was actually meant to be a booklet, and then the outside is also supposed to be covered. So you did like this. I don't think these go in here. They don't. Okay, so you took these and you tuck them together as a book. So this would go in here like this, right? And then you would cover with scrapbook paper, the panels. You would cover inside here like this. Like this. And then you can put some paper in there, and then you decorate the front. So that's what these are. These I don't mind. And then you cut, see, this is cut here. These I don't mind. These I think are cool. This could also flip up. So however you wanted to do that one. I have a couple of these. See, I have this one, which I reverse folded, by the way. So it was folded like this because you line the inside, right? But I flipped it because I thought this would make a cool cover, and then I'll use different scrapbook paper to line the inside. Actually, I only need a strip of this I only need a strip of this. This isn't really getting rid of pre-made ephemera. It's kind of going through and saying, okay, I'll use that. Okay, I won't use that. This is one of those pocket things. like this, like these that we cut apart. It's another one of those, but I decorated the front of it. So I'm probably going to end up cutting this apart and doing same, and this one will just already be decorated. I see they're buckling. Oh, I cut this one. So this one's got a pocket in the side. So I can also, I probably put something on here to reinforce if I'm going to use this as a back and use that as a pocket. So this one would get reinforcement as well, but that's going to get cut in half and used as two separate, like I did with those others. This, I think, how wide are these? Let's see how wide these are. About 4 3/4 by about 7 1/4. Okay. 4 3/4 by 7 1/4. I think I'm going to cut it to the 7 1/4 height, and then 4 3/4 I can cut from the strip, and then I'll still have enough to do my flap over there. The question is, what do I want my flap over there to be from? Thinking that, meaning this strip. This has a lot of stuff, so we're going to do that. Oh, I'm going to need my tall ruler. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 1/4. And this is a matter of going through and ephemera that I find that I liked and redecorating it. I'm not necessarily repurposing this. I'm redecorating it. So, but finishing it also makes it ready to use, right? Let's see where how that has us. Okay, so that's a little too big. I think I'm going to take, how much of that do I want? I think I'm going to take about 1/8 of an inch off of here. 1 2 3 4 5. No, 1 2 3 4. No, that's not the direction I want to do that in. Okay, so now we're going to cut this. We're going to cut a 4 3/4 inch piece. 1 2 3 4 3/4. So we're going to cut here. Okay, and then it'll fit on there like that. So you can just see the peaking of the white around it. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing with this one. I'm going to take off 1/8 of an inch. And I think they go well with the theme on the outside of travel and all that. So fun, right? And then I could sew pages in here and make a little book out of it. This could be like a little journal or a journal companion or, you know, any of those kind of things. You know what these would be great for? Because of the way we do all of our file folder projects, they have a tendency to have lots of flips and flaps and pockets, but not a lot of pages sewn in. This would go great in a pocket with pages sewn in it so that you have journaling space to go with all the flips and flaps and whatnot. So that's what you could do with these. These books would work great for that. So I have several of those that I will be hanging on to. This is one that got decorated. Oh, this is one that's glued down. This is a paper clip. Not really any changing that. So that would be something that I would clip onto the side of a page, which I would use that. This box, now this box, some of the stuff in here, like, see, here's a flippy pad. So some of the stuff in here is stuff that we've already made decisions on. All these flippy pads can probably get repurposed. This one got done and decorated. So this probably needs to go in my finished ephemera pile. Some of this stuff needs to get cleaned out of here and just, like I said, go in a finished ephemera pile. This was a book, like the envelope book that I just made, where we line the inside. Okay. So we know what I want to do with that. And, you know, it just goes on from there. Oh, this was a book with, it's got 2 pockets and a flap. You might put some, you could put a flippy pad there, actually. Let's see. We have all these flippy pads in here. Do I have one? Where's the one? No, that's probably more color than I want. But see, I could just stick a flippy pad on here and just decorate up there to make it look nice. And there you have it. I probably won't put this one in there just because I don't know if I could put the summer one in there to add color. That would be kind of fun to add color. I don't know. But anyway, so you get the idea. So I would put a flippy pad in here, and then you've got a little book. And again, these can get glued down as pockets and tucks, or they can get, because this closes nice and flat. So that's probably what that will end up as. But I'm going to go through here and I'm going to find if there's anything else that I need to, you know, give you an idea what I'm going to do with. And then we will move on to another drawer, guys, and we're going to go through and we're going to clear stuff out. And then I'll see what my bin of ephemera looks like after that, and how I might be able to better store it. And then I will move on to kind of getting my floor. Guys, all around me on the floor, if this is me, all around me on the floor, behind me, back here, is covered in stuff on my floor all over the place. And my fabric is shoved up under places where I can't get to it, so it makes it really hard for me to use it. And so I just really want to go through and we're going to do, like I said, we're going to do spring cleaning. So I hope you guys have liked this. I hope you guys have enjoyed the idea. I know that every year people go through their craft rooms and do overhauls. It's just, eventually you accumulate too much stuff, and I have gotten to that point. So we're going to clean it out. Okay. I'll talk to you guys later. God bless you for being here, and I hope you have a great start to your spring. Bye-bye.